Hey guys, it's Brie from Precious Style Pads. So today I'm going to be doing my first period story. So I think I've mentioned this several times in other videos, but I went back and looked through all the videos I've put up on YouTube, and I couldn't find one that was specifically for my first period. So I might have already done this, or I might not have, but either way I'm doing it again. So here we go. I got my period when I was 14 years old. I believe I just turned 14 actually. It was probably, for some reason, the 16th of August really sticks in my memory, and probably 2011, I think. I really should have thought of this before I did this video, shouldn't I? But yeah, so I started my period when I was 14, which is quite late in terms of, you know, when other people in my class are starting. I think I was possibly the last person, or at least one of the last people to get their period in my year. So there are actually only 15 girls in my class at school, which is really a very, very small class. Yeah, so I think I started my period on the 16th of August 2011. My birthday's actually on the 28th of July, so it's only like a week or two after my birthday. And I didn't really notice anything, I didn't feel anything particularly different. What was happening was I was on my way out the door, literally walking out my front door to go for a 3 or 4 day camping trip with my godmother. And as I left, we were going down to Devon, and that's a 4-hour drive from where I live, so I thought, oh, you know, probably should go to the toilet. Went to the toilet, and lo and behold, Mother Nature had left her gift. There really wasn't much blood at all. There was kind of just a little bit of a smear, and it was sort of dark reddish brown. But it didn't really scare me, and I was thrilled. I was like, yeah! Mother Nature, I finally got my period, because I thought it would never, ever come. Because I was 14 by this point, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, am I going to have this artificially started? Because I'd already had several health problems. So by the time I got my period, I was thrilled, because to me that was like the first normal thing my body had done in, well, forever. So I was absolutely thrilled, and I ran upstairs to get a pad, and I was like, oh, I get to use all the pads now. It was really exciting for me. I might be weird in that aspect, but I was really excited to get my period. And I grabbed my pads, I went downstairs, and I was like, Mom, got my period. You know, and she's like, oh, okay, so we need to go off and stop on the way. And I was just determined on my first period, purely because in year 5, my year 5 teacher told me that we would have to use pads for the first year before we even thought about tampons. I was determined to use tampons on my first period, and I did actually. But I kind of underestimated how heavy my period was going to be, because I left a light tampon in for 6 hours, and I bled right through the tampon, right through my underwear, and right through my trousers. But that's a bit later on in the story, sorry. So anyway, we got in the car, we drove off, we had stopped at Sainsbury's on the way, which is one of our supermarkets in the UK. Picked up a couple of pads and a couple of tampons as well. And I was thrilled. I was like, I get to pick out which ones I want. And I just grabbed one of literally every pack, I think, there. And got in the car, got on our way, and we stopped at the toilets, and I changed my pad and everything. And I wasn't heavy at this point. But I put my light tampon in when we got to the camping site. And our tent was kind of... So we were in a tent and not a caravan. Our tent was not too far from the toilets or the wash area, so I thought that was really good. And I remember thinking, like, sussing that out. So that first evening I put in a light tampon, and this is where my instant happened. We all sat down and we ate, like, I don't even know, something like a steak and liver pie, which actually was disgusting, but still. We sat down and ate that, and then I got up and I felt like a wet patch between my legs, and I thought, oh my god, I have leaked. That was a big lesson to me. Because of the fact that I leaked through my tampon that time, I have never worn a tampon or a menstrual cup since without a panty liner as backup, just because I remember so, like, it sticks in my brain so vividly what happened that first time. And it was my first day of my period. I mean, I wasn't going to be totally prepared for it. But I got up, I wrapped one of my jumpers around my waist and just kind of legged it to the toilets. Took the tampon out, changed the tampon. I think I had a spare pair of leggings with me or something. So I completely changed myself and was like, oh, I'm nice and clean now. And I should just mention, whilst I was on this camping trip, my parents weren't there. I was only with my godmother, her husband, and some of their friends, I think. I don't think any of my godbrothers were there, no. It was like completely on my own. I said to Mum, don't tell my godmother, I don't want her to know, like they don't need to know or anything. I was like, I'm determined, you know, this is Mother Nature, we're going into the wild, like I can do this, you know, bring it on kind of thing. Might have been a little bit cocky in that sense though, because I did have a couple of hiccups. And actually Mum did tell my godmother, but she didn't tell me she told my godmother. So secretly my godmother did know about this, and in hindsight that was probably a good thing, because I took longer when like going to the toilets and stuff. And if we, apparently, I don't remember this, but she's always told me that apparently they planned a route around the woods, and I needed to change my pad, and the toilets were like at the end of this trial. So I was like, oh, if we go this way, then maybe like we'll go past the toilets because I need the loo and stuff. And she would have perhaps put up some resistance to that if she hadn't known about my period, but because she knew I had my period, she was like, oh yeah, let's go with it. So that probably was a good thing. So do, if you are on a camping trip, let someone know you have your period, especially if it's your first period and you're just starting to learn how to deal with things. But yeah, so I was very heavy on my first period as well. And I don't remember having any pain apart from the third day. Got a little bit of cramping just before we went on that walk actually. And so I took 2 paracetamols just in case, and that's all I had to take the entire time of my first period. I had no pain apart from that. It was very heavy, and I put 2 pads, stuck 1 pad at the front of my underwear, stuck 1 pad at the back, so I didn't have any overnight pads, and I also put tampon in, and I should have not done that, but I did, and I leaked through the tampon, leaked through both of these pads, and leaked through my underwear and through my pyjamas onto my sleeping bag, which we had to throw away after this trip because it was like really soiled and stuff, which is kind of disgusting, but whatever. Yeah, I was very heavy, and I'm nowhere near that heavy now, but that was just my first period. I think it was, my uterus had built up so much lining and it was so long before I had my period, it just like whew, Niagara Falls the first time. There wasn't really much else that happened on my first period. The only thing I can also remember is that because there was so much rubbish after my period, as soon as I got up, I had to immediately change my pads. So I'd be there, and we were in a shared tent, but there was dividers on either side of the tent, so I had to be so quiet when opening these loud packages, and I'm so glad my cloth pads don't make that sound now. But like these loud plastic wrappers, and I had to like slowly peel them so they wouldn't know what I was doing, and then pull it off slowly. And yeah, and I just put all the soiled clothes and the soiled pads actually into a plastic bag I had in the corner of my tent, and it really started to stink. I'm not kidding, because of all the, you know, the chemicals and the disposable pads, they were all reacting with that. The blood was reacting with that, so it was really starting to smell disgusting. Luckily we don't have bears in the UK. I probably should have thought about that if I was in America, but we don't really have anything dangerous over here. But yeah, so I had them all in my little plastic bag in the corner of my room, and they were starting to stink, and I just took all my clothes off that were ever soiled and put them into this bag. I think I even managed to get my pyjama top covered in blood, like that's how heavy I was. And then at the end of my period, I literally had this plastic bag all tied up and everything, and I gave it to my dad. And that's how, oh no, he didn't find out my period that way. Mum told him on the way back, and apparently he was going, oh, my little girl's grown up and doing the thing that, you know, dads do. But I gave him this plastic bag, and I don't know what happened, but he would have probably had to sort out between my lovely soiled pads and my clothes. Thanks, Dad. I haven't done that since. I have learnt since then to deal with it better, but that was my first period. As you can tell, there wasn't really anything particularly traumatic about it. It wasn't that difficult to deal with, in all honesty, and by the second period I was like a pro, you know, just Mother Nature, bring it on. I did have a lot of pain in my second period, but then I had nothing after that until this pain started. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe. Don't forget you can get cloth pads and menstrual cups from Precious Stars. My website is down below. # shameless self-promotion, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.